Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
My fiancée accidentally left her group conversation visible on my laptop. I saw a message she had typed. He's not really my type, but I had to accept the proposal or I'd be out of the apartment. Her friends advised her to just get through the ceremony and sort the rest later. In a single afternoon, I canceled the reception hall, the gown, and the entire engagement. Now it's her mother blowing up my phone. Buckle up, this one's lengthy. For background, I'm 31, a software engineer at a medical tech firm up until 3 days ago. I was happily engaged to Sarah, 29. We'd been a couple for a little over 2 years and had shared my apartment for the past 10 months in what I genuinely believed was a solid, loving relationship. The wedding date was set for next May. We'd already paid deposits on the venue. She had her dress, and we were knee-deep in checklists and spreadsheets. Last Friday, I wrapped up a big project early, so my manager let the team knock off at lunch. Sarah is a realtor and was out with clients all day, which meant I had the place to myself. I cracked open a cold beer, flipped open my laptop to clear a few emails, and that's when my entire world cracked in half. Sarah had borrowed my laptop the previous evening to browse more venue photos because her own was on the charger. She never logged out of her long-running college group chat with her two best friends, Taylor and Brooke. I'm not a snoop. Never have been. I was literally about to close the window when my own name jumped out at me. The message was from Sarah, sent exactly 2 days after I got down on one knee. He's not really my type, but I had to say yes or I'd lose the apartment. You know how insane the rental market is right now, and my name isn't even on the lease. My chest felt like someone dropped a boulder on it. It only got uglier from there. Taylor, wait, you're actually going to marry a guy for a place to live? Sarah, it's not only the apartment. He's steady, has a solid job, treats me well. You don't find that combo every day. And let's be real, I'm not getting any younger. Brooke, but you're not attracted to him? That seems pretty major for a marriage. Sarah, he's not unattractive, just not what I always pictured. There's no real spark, but maybe that's the grown-up version of love. My mom always says passion burns out anyway. Security is what lasts. Taylor, so what's the actual plan? Sarah, get through the wedding, then see where we land. Worst case, if it falls apart in a few years, at least I'll be more established in my career by then. I must have reread that thread 30 times, praying I was misinterpreting, that there was some missing context. There wasn't. The woman I was ready to build a life with viewed me as a safe paycheck and a roof over her head while she climbed the ladder. Suddenly everything clicked into place. Why she rarely initiated affection, why she always deflected when I brought up having kids someday. The odd, calculating flicker I'd seen in her eyes the moment I proposed, which I'd foolishly written off as happy shock. That I sat frozen for hours, the screen glowing like an accusation. By the time Sarah walked in around 6, I'd moved past devastation and into ice-cold clarity. "Hey, honey," she called, tossing her bag on the counter. "Good day." I forced a smile. "Interesting one. Got off early. Thought I'd surprise you." "Nice," she said, already scrolling her phone, barely glancing up. "I'm wiped. 3 showings and 0 offers. Can we just order something tonight?" "Of course," I answered. "Actually, I need to step out for a bit. Forgot something at the office. I'll grab dinner on the way back." She nodded and headed for the shower without a second thought. I took my keys, wallet, and phone and made every call from my car. First, the venue. I had paid the $5,000 deposit from my own account and the contract was solely in my name. The coordinator was kind when I gave her the short version. She canceled the date quietly and promised not to contact Sarah. Next, caterer, $2,000 deposit, florist, DJ, photographer. One by one, everything I had booked was gone. Some deposits were non-refundable, some weren't. I didn't care about the money. The ring was my grandmother's heirloom, the one part of this nightmare that hadn't cost me a dime. At least I'd be getting that back. Final call, my landlord. Lease renewal was coming up in 8 weeks. Since only my name was on it, I could renew alone or walk away. Sarah had zero legal claim to the apartment. The irony was brutal that I picked up Ty, her favorite, for one last shared meal. When I walked in, she was curled on the couch browsing wedding Pinterest boards. My stomach lurched. "Dinner's here?" I said, dropping the bags on the table. We ate mostly in silence while she occasionally showed me centerpieces and color palettes. I nodded along until the containers were empty. Then I looked her straight in the eye and said, calm as I could, "You left your group chat open on my laptop today." For a split second, nothing registered. Then recognition hit, her eyes widened, her fork froze halfway to her mouth. "Which chat?" she asked, voice already shaking. "The one where you told Taylor and Brooke I'm not your type, but the apartment made saying yes worth it." Every drop of color left her face. "Alex, I can explain. I've read enough." I cut in. "I spent the afternoon canceling the venue, the caterer, the photographer, everything." Her expression flipped from panic to fury. "You did what? Without even discussing it with me first? Do you have any idea how hard that venue was to book?" That she was more upset about logistics than the fact I discovered her betrayal told me all I needed to know. That I held out my hand. "The ring. Please." "Alex, you're completely overreacting. It was just girl talk." "The ring, Sarah." My tone left no room for argument. She twisted it off and practically threw it at me. "What am I supposed to do about the apartment?" she demanded, tears starting. "Where am I supposed to live?" "Funny, that seems to be your main worry. You have 60 days until the lease is up. I'm sure a smart realtor like you can figure something out." She dissolved into loud, dramatic sobs, the kind that come from ruined plans, not a broken heart. "My parents already paid $3,000 for the dress. It's non-refundable. Consider it tuition," I said. That night, I slept in the guest room while she alternated between crying and yelling into her phone, presumably to Taylor and Brooke. The next morning, I left early and checked into a hotel. I needed space. That was 3 days ago. I'm still here, processing. Sarah has blown up my phone with everything from rage, "How dare you make unilateral decisions?" to desperate bargaining. I was scared. "I do love you. We can fix this." The newest development, her mother leaving long, guilt-laden voicemails about cold feet and misinterpreted private conversations. I haven't answered a single one. I'm meeting the landlord tomorrow to go over my options. But one thing is non-negotiable. This relationship is over. Some betrayals you don't recover from, and learning you were chosen for your paycheck and spare bedroom instead of your heart is definitely one of them. I'll update if anything major happens. But right now, I'm just coming to terms with the fact that the future I thought I had never actually existed. Update 1 week later. Thank you all for the overwhelming support on the original post. Your comments kept me grounded when I started second-guessing myself. A lot has unfolded in 7 days. The morning after everything blew up, I met with my landlord. He was incredibly understanding and agreed to let me break the lease early with only a 1-month penalty if I choose to move, but I don't plan to. He also confirmed Sarah has no legal right to stay. When I finally went back to the apartment, Sarah had switched tactics. The angry victim was gone. In her place was a weepy, remorseful woman who said dumb things to sound cool and was just scared of commitment. For a brief moment, I almost wavered. Then I remembered every time she dodged talks about kids, every time affection felt like an obligation, every red flag I'd ignored because love is supposed to be blind. I need you to move out, I told her. You have 2 weeks. Cue more tears, bargaining, pleading. Eventually she realized I wasn't budging. Her final parting shot. You're going to regret this. You'll never find someone who cares about you the way I did. I actually laughed. Someone who cares about my lease and my salary? Yeah, those are rare. The next few days were tense but manageable. She packed slowly, spending long stretches at her parents' before coming back for another load. I made sure I was out whenever she was there. Then the flying monkeys descended. First her sister with paragraph-long texts about one mistake doesn't define a relationship. Then, unbelievably, Taylor, the friend from the group chat, slid into my Facebook messages claiming I took everything out of context and that Sarah talked about how much she loved me all the time. Sure, Taylor. But the most relentless has been Sarah's mom. The voicemails went from soft guilt trips to outright accusations that I've destroyed her daughter's life over a misunderstanding. Yesterday, I finally replied, Your daughter admitted, using her own words, that she accepted my proposal for housing security and financial stability. I deserve someone who wants me, not my apartment. Please stop contacting me. This morning she showed up at the door in person. Sarah wasn't there. Most of her stuff was already gone. She alternated between crying and lecturing me about how real love isn't fireworks. It's practical choices. I told her practicality is fine, deception is not. If Sarah had been honest about her doubts, we could have postponed, talked, worked through it. The lying is what ended us. She left after telling me Sarah's dad thinks I'm spineless for not fighting harder. Coming from the parents who raised a daughter comfortable using people, that's rich. On the brighter side, I've reconnected with friends I'd let drift while I was wrapped up in this relationship. Turns out several of them had quiet reservations about Sarah. They never voiced at my buddy Chris admitted that at our engagement party Sarah spent more time flashing the ring for photos than talking about a future with me. I've decided to keep the apartment. Great location, fair rent, and I'm not letting anyone push me out of my own home. Sarah has until the end of next week to collect the rest of her things. Anything left after that gets donated. I've also been untangling our digital lives. Removing her from streaming accounts, changing passwords, erasing the little ways 2 years of cohabitation we view together. The hardest part is fielding well-meaning relatives and mutual friends who insist everyone has doubts, and you should give her another chance. They don't get that this wasn't cold feet. It was discovering the entire relationship was transactional from her side. I'll update again once she's fully gone and this chapter is sealed shut. For now, I'm just reminding myself that hurting now is infinitely better than finding this out after vows and shared finances. Final update, 1 month later. It's been a full month since my life flipped upside down, and this will be my last update for anyone who followed along. Sarah is completely moved out as of 2 weeks ago. Her final day was quiet. She and her dad came for the furniture while I killed time at a cafe nearby. When I got back, her keys were on the counter next to a 5-page handwritten letter. I didn't want to read it. Curiosity on IT was the usual mix of apologies, claiming she didn't realize what she had until it was gone, that she'd grown to love me deeply but was too immature to recognize real love versus the Instagram version. Maybe there's a grain of truth in there, But nowhere did she explain why she couldn't have been honest from the start instead of lying for months. The apartment feels bigger, quieter, and, honestly, more peaceful. I rearranged everything, hung some new art, and it finally feels like mine again. Lease renewed. No drama to Sarah's mom, made one last lunch invitation, just to talk. I politely declined and said I needed to keep this boundary. She actually accepted it this time. Mutual friends say Sarah is staying with her parents for now, and her real estate pipeline has dried up a bit. Several couples we know decided to use different agents after word spread. I don't take joy in that. I genuinely don't wish her professional harm. All wedding cancellations are finalized. I ate roughly $9,000 in non-refundable deposits, but that's cheap compared to a divorce. A few vendors quietly refunded partial amounts after I explained the situation. Small kindnesses that meant a lot. The dress found a new home. Sarah's mom called, not to beg this time, to say another bride in almost the exact situation bought it at a fraction of the price. Circle of life, I guess. The biggest surprise came from Brooke, one of the original group chat friends. She emailed a sincere apology for not pushing back harder when Sarah made those comments, and confirmed this wasn't the first time Sarah had strategically dated up for stability. Apparently, I replaced a previous boyfriend the moment a better financial prospect appeared. History almost repeated itself. This time she miscalculated that I've started therapy to unpack the trust damage, and my therapist made an interesting point. The speed and decisiveness with which I dismantled everything suggests I may have had subconscious reservations of my own. Food for thought. Do I regret ending it so cleanly? Not for a second. The sadness I feel is for the future I thought we had, not for Sarah herself. When I think of her now, it's with a distant sort of pity. Someone so focused on security that she missed out on actual connection. Moving forward, I'm pouring energy into myself. Picking up old hobbies, spending real time with friends, pushing for the next promotion at work. Dating is on hold until I trust my own radar again. When I do put myself out there, I'll be looking for someone who chooses me because of who I am, not what I own. Someone who sees me as a partner, not a safety net. To everyone who commented, sent messages, or just read along. Thank you. You helped me hold the line when it would have been easy to fold. And to anyone going through something similar, when someone shows you their true priorities, believe them the first time. This chapter is closed. It wasn't the ending I planned, but it might be the beginning I needed.